Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday session, the Namaste experience. We want to begin by wishing a happy birthday. I'm sure we're going to be celebrating this in many ways throughout the day. So we're giving a very special happy birthday because she's the one who cooks our food or manages our food. So we want to give her as much energy as possible. All right. We're going to begin with our affirmation, which we have been sharing often. And this is going to lead right into the lesson. When we hear the words, I am as God created me, or in this case, I am as God created me, and if I remain as God created me, fear has no meaning, evil is not real, misery and death do not exist. I am as God created me. This is the truth. This is the truth that is always true. It's that simple. It really is that simple. So let's, as we share this now, feel that truth. These are not just words. This is not a hope or a desire or something to achieve one day. This is the truth right here and right now. So let's really feel this truth as we say these words. I'll put it up on the screen. All right. Here we go. I am as God created me. If I remain as God created me, fear has no meaning, evil is not real, and misery and death do not exist. I am as God created me. How does that feel? When you treat it as a present truth, a present reality, not just an imagined goal, how does it feel? We're going to be diving into that feeling today, that experience, because as we always say, this is an experience to enjoy, not just an idea or something to think about. This is an experience. And there comes a moment where the tumblers fall into place, where that key slips right into the lock and everything just falls into place, and you feel it and you know it. It is fully realized. And the first thought that will enter your mind, as it did mine, will be, you mean this has always been here? This has always been true? It's like taking blinders off and suddenly you see that which has always been. So as you hear this lesson today, treat it like that. Treat it like this is it. All I need to do is to fully receive, and then the experience of the I am will shape us, will be realized through and as each one of us. Because ultimately, it's just the experience of that I am. We were talking at breakfast this morning about our prayer of protection. And we're going to be changing it a little bit today. And I think we'll stay with this change because we had already changed it when we say I can't remember how it goes. What's the first line? The light of God surrounds us, surrounds me. I am the light of God. And then it goes on like that. But then at the very end, we say, wherever God is, we are, and all is well. Okay, well, what we're going to say, calm down, everybody. What we're going to say is, I am, not we are. We've been saying I am throughout the whole prayer, right? And suddenly, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying we are, but there is, it's easy to hide in the we are doing this together. No, I am doing this. There's only one I am. There is only one extension of the love and the loveliness of God. And it's you proclaiming I am. I am that. It makes no sense, I get it, but the experience that's being inspired within you is one that the intellect will never understand. So my suggestion is give up the need right away. Just enter in, step in. So we're going to do that at the very end. But before that, I thought I would share a little bit from this book, The Impersonal Light. which, if you don't know, was the book that I guess I wrote when I was doing my anchor hold retreat a year and a half ago or so, when I was for 6 months over here in the little enclosure. I found myself being massively creative. I wrote 2 books, recorded, I think, 2 CDs, and made an animated movie in 6 months. But this was the one that I think was truly helpful. And I'm very grateful to Baraka for helping me to get this out. So I just opened it up this morning and I came to a lesson that I wanted to share that I think will help guide us in. This is like on a runway, you have lights that guide the plane in. Without the lights, the plane would have no way of knowing in the dark where the runway is. This is like a light. The Course in Miracles is like a light. There are many other sources that are like that light, guiding you into an experience. This is not going to give it to you, but it will guide you into it if you allow. So I'm going to suggest that you hear these words and just let that light begin to shine bright within you, not trying to figure it out or have any intellectual anything, just allowing it to be present. So this is all about the illusion of choice. We love to say that we have free choice, right? And it's true, but it's also an illusion because you really only have a choice between truth and untruth. And you can choose to live or think that you're living in an experience of untruth, but that doesn't make it true. Do you see that? You can be living in an experience of illusion, but that doesn't make it real. It's just the experience of an illusion. And we can stay there for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime if we choose. So freedom, I wrote this down right before the session. Freedom of choice is ultimately the freedom to dream. Freedom of choice is ultimately the freedom to dream. Upon awakening, you realize that there never was a real choice. You are now and forever will remain as you were created by God, perfect, whole, and complete. There is no choice in that. That's why the freedom of choice is ultimately an illusion. There is no choice in who you really are, that you are whole and complete and perfect and loved by God no matter what. Isn't that wonderful and freeing to know that ultimately you have no choice in that? It's like knowing that you have no choice. You're loved by your mother, your father, you're loved by your children. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just what it is. So just relax into that. So let me share this lesson from the impersonal light. The only thing that separates you from God is the thought that you are separate from God. The thought that you are separate from God. But this is not true separation, since it's only an idea, and an untrue idea at that. The inseparable can never be separated, just as you can never be cut off from who I am. This is the I am within you speaking directly to you. The inseparable can never be separated, just as you can never be cut off from who I am, the presence within you. You may think or believe that you have lost that light or your connection with all that is, but that does not make it so. You may think that you're a giraffe because your neck is slightly longer than another person's neck, but that does not make you a giraffe. You are now and forever will remain one with oneness itself. Breathe that in one more time. You are now and forever will remain one with oneness itself. In the moment you give up the strange desire to believe otherwise, will be the same moment you burst into the light of my presence. That is good news. That's what good news feels like. Okay, a little bit more. The opposite of good is not bad. The opposite of good is non-being itself. The opposite of true is not false. The opposite of true is non-being itself. The opposite of beautiful is not ugly. The opposite of beautiful is non-being itself. I'll pause there for just a moment. You see, this is always the illusion that there is a choice within the illusion, that there's a choice between good and bad, that there's a choice between true and false. There is no choice between true and false. There's true and then there's false. There's real and then there's unreal. So the opposite of anything that is true is non-being, or the attempt to not be. Because the truth of who you are is beingness itself. The truth of who you are is perfection itself. And we can hide from that, and we can hide within a supposed experience of not, I am not that, as opposed to I am that. But it doesn't make it so. It doesn't have any real effect. This is the key. What has no real effect is not real. It's actually quite simple. A bit more. Only goodness, truth, and beauty are real. And what does not exist has no effect. There we go. Goodness is like a bed you lay upon, which comforts you while you sleep. Truth is like a pillow, which supports your head and allows you to deeper rest. And beauty is like a blanket, which keeps you warm while the cold wind blows around you. Trust these three and you will find true safety. Honor these three and you will find your rest. Love these three and you will remember who you are. What is not all good, and those words are capitalized, what is not all good is nothing and does not exist. What more needs to be said? Let the simple be simple. Do you feel that? Do you feel something inside you stirring when you hear words like that? If you do, it's because there is a reality, a wholeness within you that is longing to be expressed, longing to be realized. As long as we think we have a choice between truth and non-truth, it's hidden. But the instant we realize there is no choice, you are who you are, whole, perfect, complete, loved by love itself. When you realize that, really, truly allow that to take hold, everything else falls away. Suddenly the curtains part, and there you are, where you've always been. It's not hard, it's not difficult. It's actually the simplest thing in the universe, but we've become so practiced at denying the simplicity of this reality that it seems hard, that it seems difficult. Give up that idea. Give up the thought that this takes time. It doesn't take any time. What has always been true takes no time. What has always been real really takes no work. All it takes is to relax and to know that I am one with God. There you have it. There you have it. So I'm going to turn it over to Victoria, and she's going to take this, I'm sure, and make it a bit more practical so we can bring this into our daily life. So good morning, Vicki.
Good morning, Brother James. Good morning, everybody. Well, Brother James, you did a great job. You really brought it right. You brought it down to where there is a change. And it's true. We think we make choices within what looks like our world, and that whatever we choose has big value and importance. But when we choose between different options of the world we've been spinning from fear, we're still choosing fear and being alone in no matter what form of the choice that we take. And the crux of it, Jesus says in the Course a lot, change your mind. We need to change the thought in our mind that we're alone. That's all that whole passage is saying. And if I look in my life, and most of us, we'll see that the situations we look at are because we think we're on our own. I got to take care of this. I've got to figure out what to do about this. I've got to help this one. I've got to do that. Those are all outpicturings, and those are spinning from I'm alone here. I have to figure this out. And the place that we change our mind is the last sentence you said, that we really have a Father that we're one with. And we can choose to rest like on that soft bed, on that soft pillow. We can choose to put all our attention on that, rather than what we do is we have temper tantrums of thinking and running out different options and doing all kinds of different distractions because we're uncomfortable with letting go of the controls we're used to having when we make choices between nothing. We're making choices in the dream, so we make a different dream choice, but we're still choosing the dream or the illusion. It's a different choice, and it's all of those are based on I've got to take care of this myself. That's what we have become. We've become the authority of ourselves, and all truth is saying is you're not in charge of you. You have a heavenly creator that you are joined with forever. Let him care for you. He put, what's the quote? He something about I bring all your cares to him because he careth for you. That's the thought that changes our experience here, even in time, so that we get to see through the appearances. And what you started to talk about, when you see that everything is this spacious open field of love, or that experience comes, it will come to all of us in different descriptions. That's why there's no comparing or there's no trying to figure it out, but there is a willingness to let that experience come. And that experience, bottom line, is an experience of being totally part of, cared for, and in one with everything. Not just with our Father, with everything. It's everything. And in that experience, when love comes, we are strong, we are safe, because we're not dependent on our own ideas of how to handle anything. It doesn't matter. What matters is staying in this change of mind. What Jesus said, my Father and I are one. In that change of mind, and until that experience comes in, to put all our attention on it. That's the practical piece. That's like the book that's the lights on the runway. Put all our attention on, my Father and I really are one. What would that mean? If God, who loves me and is the creator of life, of my beingness, what does that mean? Rather than, let me figure it out on my own. Let me choose A or B or C. No, I'm going to see, what does the Father do with me when I put all my attention on him? And that takes a moment of discipline. It does take, that's why there is a mind training, because our minds are used to choosing different choices of the same era. We really do think the world is real. And underneath all of that, the world we see is a spin-off from thinking we're separate. That's why the root thought is that I'm not separate. I belong to my Creator. And my Creator cares for me and loves me. And that's all we're asked to do. All our attention there, in spite of all the temper tantrums that our ego will run before us. Oh, all kinds of, the culture, the war, the this, the sickness. In spite of all of it, oh my God, dear God, help me to remember that I'm one with you, and these are dreams of separation, every one of them, and I will not support them anymore. I will support the experience of our oneness and the love and the care. and the joy that is that, and that I am that. It's our attention. That's what we do every day in this room. This is like a pep rally for the truth. Okay, everybody, you ready? Everybody, turn your attention this way. Look at the runway. Look at the lights. We're on it. Don't lose those lights. Pick up any runway light you want. Doesn't matter. Pick up the lights to the runway and stick with it. And when all this other stuff comes up, you just bring it right to the runway and say, all right, what do you think about this dream? And the answer will be, don't worry, it's a dream. It can't hurt you. It's like raising to a higher level of consciousness of our beingness, which operates under only one law of love and grace, rather than all the little laws of the dream of separation and fear. The dream of separation is quite cruel. It's because it's based on fear and attack. Well, actually, it's based on killing off God, which was not such a good idea. Thank God we couldn't do it. We just thought we could do it. So we've been running scared ever since. But the good news that Jesus came and that everyone, for every mystic, and a mystic is no one other than someone that looks within rather than outside. That's what a mystic is. So we do that. We're all that. When we look inside and we say, I don't want to be thinking the way I've been thinking and making messes like I see out there anymore. I want to come for big correction. Where are the runway lights? I'm going to stay there. And then from there, solutions unfold. Your next step comes through recognition. There's no more need for figuring out and judgment. It comes from love that wants to share and give, rather than fear that wants to take and protect and hide and be alone in. Love opens its arms and welcomes. And when we keep our eyes on the runway, it's impossible that we don't land in the land of love. That's how we change our mind. Don't use my mind to keep thinking different variations of I'm alone and I'm frightened. That's the only change of mind. My mind is holding, thank you, God, that you created me and all of life and that I'm part of you. Just show me my next step, breath, word, or whatever it is. Amen, everybody. Thanks for being on the runway with me.
Yeah, I like that image. We are on the runway. We're landing. We're landing in this truth. And a pilot, when they are coming in for a landing, and they're not thinking about a lot of different things. They have one thing that they're wholly focused on, staying right there between those lights, bringing that plane down nice and smooth. That's the only thing they're thinking about. They're not thinking about what they had for lunch or what their meetings are going to be tomorrow. They're focused, and we have to have the same focus. If this is really what you want, and I promise you, it is what you really want. You may not always realize that. We may get distracted and move over here, but if we want to come down for a nice smooth landing, keep your eyes between those lights. And the lights are all, oh, the wind is knocking things over here. The lights are all around us. The light is everywhere at once. Everywhere at once. I love the line in this lesson today where it says, you may think that you're a giraffe because your neck is slightly longer than another person's neck, but that does not make you a giraffe. You may think you're separate because it seems you have a body, and it seems that you're hanging around with other people who have bodies, but that doesn't make it true. That doesn't make it real. The truth within you is whole. The truth within you is holy. Just allow that to be so. It's that simple. We have a couple more minutes, so Calico, let's turn to you again and see if you have anything you'd like to share. I know you're big into the mind training part of this, so if you want to say anything about that, that would be helpful, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this. And thank you, Vicki, said it so perfectly. This morning we were talking about, using pronouns instead of I, keeps us from really grappling with, there's only one mind to deal with, and it's mine. what other people think of me, whatever, anything I think of the dream, it's inconsequential as long as I keep my mind clear and on love. And I remember, I was a tough nut to break. I had probably about 5 copies of A Course in Miracles that, I'd give them away, and then they would come back, and I'd give them away and they'd come back. And the first copy I ever had, I remember going through it, crossing out the he's and putting she. I was a bit of a rabid feminist at the time. And the reality is there is no masculine and feminine. There's only one mind of love. And that's mine. And it's like, and the training of it is necessary. It's critical, because if I don't change my mind, and that's why all those ideas I had of who I was, I had to go through, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently, because I knew I was separating with any thought of I'm a female in a body. That's just separation. And it's like, and that is what we're doing here, is breaking up any idea of a separating thought. And the only way I know to do of it, and the only way that I have ever had any success in loving everybody, is to really ask for help. As soon as I identified, oh, I'm separating again. Let's work on this. Why am I separating? What do I still believe in the dream that is creating me this separation? And, mystic, whatever, it's all of us here are looking at our minds through our different dreamscapes, coming to the same truth of it doesn't matter. The dreamscape does not matter. It's just how clear is my mind, and the focus being only on love, on those runway lights. And I'm dancing with you, Vicki, on that runway. It's like, yeah. It's that field that Rumi talks about. It's a lot of fun. But it's like, I have to deal with all those thoughts in my mind that create separation. And that's where the clearing comes. And that's why I'm so big into the mind training, because it's one thought at a time. Oh, I have issues with this person. Great. Let's take it on. See where that comes from. How do I clear this? Well, I can't clear this. God can, if I ask. Like Vicki was sharing about the shift in the Course in Miracles from seeking the truth to, no, I need to ask for help to clear the truth, because I can't do it. My whole wiring from birth on was believing I'm a body in a dream that, I have choice in, and that there's a better choice than another to make. And the reality is there isn't. Wherever I am, God is, and that's it. And it's like, and that's the choice. Am I choosing love? So thank you. This is a beautiful, beautiful session. I thank you so much, all of you.
Well, thank you, Calico. I'm going to ask Reverend Michael and/or Megan to come and join us. But before we do that, Baraka, as they're coming up, you have your hand up. Was there something that you wanted to share?
Well, just this idea of the runway. I don't know if you've ever seen planes landing on an aircraft carrier, but it's really a lot more difficult than landing on a runway. And what guides the pilots in is a set of lights off to the side of the deck of the aircraft carrier, that if you're spot on, the light turns a certain color, and the light is called the meatball. So keep your eye on the meatball.
Keep your eye on the meatball. That gives a whole nother aspect to this. Okay, so we're going to let you guys keep our eyes on the meatball a little longer. So
That
what would you like
changes some
to share?
thinking.
One of the things that really comes brilliantly toward me is that we often use different pronouns when we talk about God. And we often use this concept of Father and what's outside of me. And what confuses me sometimes is that I come to a realization in my meditation that I too, like Yeshua, understand that the Father and I are one. So when I ask for this help, who am I asking help of? The realization comes again I'm asking of myself, my true identity. Jesus says, let thine eye be single. Focus, laser focus on what it is that I want to perceive in this world. Am I speaking to my higher self, my Christed nature, or am I speaking to my human nature? And so my dilemma is to bring these two aspects into oneness, or what we call in Scripture, bringing heaven to earth, creating that paradise here on earth without having to change a thing outside of my perception, but only the way I choose to look at things and to look at people and to look at situations, because I create my own reality. I don't create my world, I create my reality, or how I view it, because everybody sees it differently. We could ask all of you to envision in your mind the idea of God, and we would have a different concept for each and every one of you. And none of them are wrong. They're all the stage in which, the level at which we perceive our own spirituality.
Very profound, Reverend Michael.
Well, Reverend Megan.
I just wanted to share something that really transformed how I perceived my life and shifted from that place of feeling like the world was working against me, or that that it was hopeless and I didn't know how to make my way through. And it was a time where I had literally had to escape with my two little boys, who were 3 and 5 at the time, from a very abusive marriage. And thinking that it would be better then, but it led me through many years of the resistance of the one that thought he was the perfect one to torment me. And it was stirring things up with the boys and I had a dream. And you know, when you have a really profound dream, because it's something that you remember the details of, and I know that it's something from deep within me, the spirit within me, the divinity within me, that was wanting to give me something to live by, to shift from hopelessness to hope, to knowing that no matter what, I had the ability to move forward, to thrive. And in this dream, I was in a little cottage with my little boys, and we were happy until I started to see this darkness surrounding us and these scary eyes that were peering in through the windows. And it was taunting us. It's like, don't come out because I'll get you. And we were hiding and we were frightened. And there's something in me that said, no, you have to face this. And so I opened the door, and so I walked out. This darkness became this form of Darth Vader. So it was very Star Wars-y time. And Darth Vader in this, it's very scary, dominating presence was taunting me again to keep coming forward. And I felt like if I took another step, he was going to consume me. So as I move forward, this dark pit shows up. And again, taunting me to go forward, it's like walking the plank. I had to step over the edge. And as I did, I lifted my eyes up over the shoulder of Darth Vader, and I saw this brilliant light. And the light said, stay focused on me, and you will be okay. And as I stepped into the pit of unknown, a bridge appeared. And I walked over the bridge, and I continued forward into a beautiful garden where I could sit and be and feel blessed and safe and know that everything I needed would be with me, and that my children would be able to follow me and be with me in the right time. And that was a decision that I made, actually, to let my children live with their father, because I believed then that the torment would stop. But for me, from that moment on, anytime I'm in fear, anytime I have lost the separation, or I've been in the separation of thinking that God and I are not one, that I am in this alone, and that I didn't know what to do, I remembered the light. You go back to the light. So it's like the runway, yes. And it's the same thing. It's always there within you. The light, you can close your eyes and imagine it. It is calling you. It is saying, keep your focus on thee that is within you. and I will lead the way, and you will be fine. And it always has been. And I have had nothing to fear since then.
Thank you.
So keep your eye on the light.
Keep your eye on the light. I love it.
So if you're with us Sunday, we're going to talk about fear, friend or foe.
Ooh, okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Nice little meatball at the end of our discussion. Something for us to chew on. Thank you very much, everyone. Calico, Vicky, Baraka, every single one of you. Wow, we are so blessed. We are so blessed to be able to come here and join in this way so often and to nourish one another with this goodness. That's what we're longing for, goodness, not more goods. How many of you, I was just talking to someone a couple of days ago. She said, I came to Ahihic with nothing, and now I'm moving 2 years later, and I've got all this stuff. How did I get all this? We think that it's goods we want. It's goodness. It's the experience of everything we're discussing here today. So relax into that. The truth is true now and forever. And now we're going to proclaim that truth by sharing and finishing here with the prayer of protection. But remember, when we get to the very end, we're going to change it ever so slightly. Instead of saying we are, we'll say I am. So here we go. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Amen, amen, amen. Y punto.
Punto.
Period. No exceptions. We love you guys.
Love you.
Happy
Thank you,
Thursday.
all of you.
I love
Happy
you all.
Thursday. Bye-bye.
Love you all.
Bye-bye for
Bye-bye.
now.
Bye-bye.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.
Bye now.